And now we revisit a highlight from the 2024 Republican presidential primary debate.
Governor Christie, another issue. This weekend here in Milwaukee, reports say there were 30 shootings, and a number of them including kids. Add that to the big increase in school shootings around the country. Democrats blame this crisis on easy access to guns. They also blame Republicans for blocking gun control legislation. What would President Christie do?
Coming at you from the Skyhammer Studios here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. This is the El Donzo and Dee Show.
You have insanity in my earpiece.
I am El Donzo.
I'm Dees.
And my oh my, insanity in the earpiece rings well this evening. Or actually this morning. We're coming at you on a Saturday morning, aren't we now, Dees?
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
We've got a lot of news to cover. There's a lot of stuff going on in Maui. We've got some sound bites, and I think people are pretty pissed off about this Maui thing, aren't they?
Yeah, and not only that, but there is a lot, and I mean a lot of chatter about these things being set intentionally, people marking out spots where potential satellite laser beams, targeting areas where things that were the color blue were not affected, were not burnt, because they're saying that the lasers can be set to frequent. I mean, it's all obviously big conspiracy stuff, but it's at the very least very, very interesting.
And we're going to get into that, and we need to have a discussion on this and how Joe Biden has completely dropped the ball and treated them like third-rate citizens.
He never picked the ball up.
Never picked you're right, he never did. He never picked the ball up. But also, Donald Trump turned himself in to Fulton County and got mugshotted along with Giuliani, and I think Jenna Ellis was in that too.
All of them.
All of them. All of them went and turned themselves in. We're going to talk about the mugshots and what's going on in our country with that. We have Trump and Tucker Carlson. We're going to touch on this too. Tucker Carlson had an interview with Donald Trump while the 2024 Republican presidential primary debates were going on.
I have not had a chance to watch that yet. I plan on doing it some point this
Which one's
weekend.
that? The Trump-Tucker interview?
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's good. Tucker comes out and...
I saw a couple highlights of it as I was going to work the next morning. So, yeah, I like I said, I plan to devote some time to watch the entire thing. I don't know what the count is now, but... as of when were the debates? Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday night. Yeah.
As of like Thursday midday, the thing had like 200 million views.
Yeah, I mean it's up to 250, I think, as of today, million views. And we'll get down in the views and actually who actually watched it, how many people actually watched it, because there's some debate there. We'll break it down for you. We'll kind of break down the debate a little bit, which was a nothing burger, if you ask me.
They never are. It's just a bunch of people yelling at each other.
Yeah, and all agreeing on the same thing in different ways. And then Chris Christie, who we heard from in the cold open, was running his suck about it. So we got a lot of stuff to go through. The first thing I do want to address though right now is I want to give a big shout out to the sponsor for our show, EnviroSeal. If you have sunken concrete, patios, drive walks, they will go in.
Driveways.
Did I say drive walks again?
Yes, you did.
Son of a... I don't know what's going on with me.
Driveways and or sidewalks.
Driveways and or sidewalks. I don't know. It must be something in the air tonight, or like in the past couple of weeks. I don't know what it is.
I guess.
If you have sunken driveways or sidewalks, I shouldn't even say sidewalks, patios. These guys go for big chunks of concrete. We're not screwing around with
anything
sidewalks.
that could be construed as a slab of concrete.
Big old slab of concrete. These guys in EnviroSeal will come in and they will pump up the slabs. They will use polyurethane foam, pump up the slabs. They'll be ready to drive on the same day. So give those guys a call, 309-275-6303 for EnviroSeal. And D's, do you know what else they do?
Skyways?
Skyways. I didn't even know what's
Or
Skyways.
Sideways.
Are you
now I'm
really?
messing
Oh,
up.
did you just do that?
I bet they do insulation for your home
They
as well.
do. They absolutely do. They do commercial and residential spray foam insulation with that same polyurethane foam. So give those guys a call in ViruSeal at 309-275-6303. Now,
We're 5 minutes in and already off the rails.
we're off. We're always off the rails. What are
Say,
you
when
kidding
are we
me?
on the rails?
We're never on the rails. We're never on top of our game. No, you know what? Actually, I got to say this. Every now and again, El Donzo and D's makes a mistake. It happens. It's inevitable, right? I mean, everybody's going to mess up.
Usually it's you, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. You make quite a few as well. Don't bust my chops on the radio. Come on, man. I don't do that to you. I never bust your chops. Why would you do that to me?
I'm going to give you the Ramaswamy treatment.
The Ramaswamy treatment. You know what? That's something I want to touch on real quick, too. Vivek Ramaswamy, I got to say, the victor of those, 8 people that were on the primary debate stage?
I think it was 8. Yeah.
The victor of those 8 was Ramaswamy.
Without question, in my opinion.
He came out on top with them.
DeSantis was good, but he was, like, you could tell he was doing everything in his power to stay on script, which what he said was fine, but every time he would interject, you could tell it was like, this is a talking point I have to hit. Whereas Vivek, he was just dropping the hammer. I mean,
He was. And see, this is where DeSantis is losing his steam. DeSantis used to be a bit of a rogue. He would come out and say whatever popped into his mind. That's why a lot of people equated him with Donald Trump. He's not doing that anymore. He's not just going out and kicking butt and taking names. He's getting very robotic, and he's getting, as my uncle would call it, domesticated.
according to the polls, though, like he spiked.
He did spike. I saw that.
Both of them actually in the Iowa polls, Vivek dropped, and DeSantis jumped up to, I believe it's like 21%, still like 21 points behind Trump, but he did get a spike.
Yeah, nobody jumped enough from that. And I don't think there was going to be any benefit in it. Like I said, with DeSantis, and I like DeSantis. We've agreed with that.
Mm-hmm.
We like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is losing his edge. And there's no way Ron DeSantis, and the way he's functioning now, is going to be able to go up against a wild card like Trump.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. He's got to step it up a little bit.
Yeah.
He's got to get back into that. This is what I'm going to say. I don't care what you think about it. I don't care who tells me it's wrong. This is how I feel about it. And like I said, DeSantis has lost that quite a bit.
Yeah, after that, if you eliminate Trump from the equation altogether and you gun to my head, you tell me I got to pick one of the people I saw Wednesday night, it's Vivek. I'm taking the guy that's not a career politician.
I mean,
say
absolutely.
what you will.
No, I think that's
Yeah.
the point that most of America's at right now. And we've got some stats I want to go through with that. So we'll get into this a little bit more detailed. Maybe we can get it in this segment. Let me take a look here real quick. Let me roll it up to the sidewalk and have a look, as David Lee Roth said.
3
No, I
minutes.
don't know. We got 3 minutes. So they had their Republican primary presidential debate. And I've said before on this show, Trump shouldn't do it. There's no reason for Trump to do it. He's better off not doing it. And what did Trump do? He did an interview with Tucker Carlson that aired, I think it was 5 minutes before the debate actually began. And wow, did Trump and Tucker mop the ratings floor with their butts.
Yeah, and I expected that. I mean,
I did too. So, and we can break this down a little bit more in the next segment. But when you look at the ratings that the Republican presidential primary debate had, and you look at the ratings / views, actual watches that the Trump and Tucker interview had, it's pretty damning as to what the American people want to see. And when you look at how many followers Trump has on Twitter, which he just posted on Twitter, we're going to be reading that in the next segment. He just posted on Twitter, I think it was today, for the first time in 2 years. So we're talking that today's Friday. For the first time in 2 years, he made a post.
it was yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
apologies.
It was Thursday.
But when you look at how many followers he's got and how many followers the rest of the guys on the stage have, and then you look at how many people actually tuned in, like I said, in my opinion, it's quite damning. And there was a couple things. I don't know. You didn't get a chance to watch the Tucker Trump
Not
interview.
yet, no.
There was a couple things that got said in that we're going to cover, which was pretty interesting. They talked about Jeffrey Epstein a little bit. Tucker Carlson came out, flat out asked him, do you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Which you tell me another news anchor in the drive-by media or in the mainstream or whatever is going to ask somebody that question. They steer away from that like it's the plague. And Trump gets kind of candid with him. Trump doesn't give the for sure, yeah, I think he was whacked, but they bring up the cameras are off and everybody was asleep. And then they get into Bill Barr about how Bill Barr kind of dropped the ball on this. Well, actually, he really did drop the ball on it. And Deez, I think you and I kind of agree a little bit that it just doesn't make sense that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Zero chance that he killed himself.
No, I don't buy it at all. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. Unless somebody actually can pull up a video of him hanging himself, you'll never, ever in any lifetime convince me that he killed himself.
But Deez, the video went out suddenly and
just
unexpectedly,
so
and the guards were
conveniently.
asleep.
Yep.
And nobody went and checked on him because he was on suicide watch, but he was with his lawyers the day before, and he was telling them how happy he was and how optimistic he was.
Something's not right here.
Yeah.
So, when there's some folks that have these conspiracy theories, they'll call them, where they go like, oh, there's a cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles running around and they run the governments. Well, when you see stuff like this, I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
Maybe there is a cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles running the governments.
Wouldn't surprise me for a second.
Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump seems to be the one politician least afraid of anybody finding out anything about Jeffrey Epstein. Doesn't it seem that? You don't hear Bill Clinton saying we got to find out what happened to this guy.
Of course not.
Of course not, because he's with him. He was on pedophile or whatever island, Lola, whatever it was. This is the El Donzo and D show.
I'm a little offended.
Why are you a little offended?
Because almost every single week in the first segment, you ask how my week's been.
Well, you know what? I guess we didn't do that then. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to find out. This should be a new segment. This should be like, dun, 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 dun. How was Deez's week? Deez, how was your week?
It was boring. I don't want to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? No cat tried to kill you?
No, not this time.
You didn't slip in a bathtub?
No.
Didn't almost break your leg getting into your truck in a pouring rain?
No, just tried to bear the heat. That's about it.
Bear the heat.
I just wanted to bust your balls a little. That's all. Honestly.
No, that's okay. Somebody's got to do
Pretty
it.
uneventful week.
Yeah, pretty uneventful week. Okay, well, I'm glad I asked you about that.
Yeah, me
You could
too.
have made something up.
Yeah, well.
You could have been like,
I'll write a
I
script
went to the
for
White
next
House
week.
and Joe Biden touched me in my naughty spot.
you could have said something, dude. Come on, man. Make it up. Joe Biden sniffed you. Kamala Harris groped you. I don't know.
Did some lines
something.
with Hunter.
Peppermint Patty. Oh, Jen Psaki. We got to talk about her today on the show, too. But, okay, so something I want to get to. So we talked about, I got to find a nickname for Chris Christie. I know I've called him expletives off air. Like big fat, but I can't say that. I can't say that on the air. I almost did, but I didn't, so it doesn't count. We gotta figure out a nickname for Chris Christie. So one of the best parts of this, you can tell when you're watching the Republican presidential primary debate. You can tell when you're watching this. So you've got some people like Mike Pence, right? Some people like Vivek Ramaswamy. A lot of people like DeSantis.
Hey, I couldn't tell. Is Mike Pence a religious man?
Oh, you couldn't tell? I think he is.
It was a joke because he talked about his Lord and Savior literally every time he opened his mouth. Which
Yeah,
is, hey, it's fine.
And I don't have the stats in front of me. I had these, and I actually forgot them at my work because that's what I do when I'm at work getting paid to do stuff. I think that they actually mentioned Donald Trump 23 or 24 times in this debate.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A debate that he wasn't even at. They had to mention him, the one that nobody wants to speak of. So let's go back to this. Let's go back to this real quick. Bret Baier. Okay, so the headline is Bret Baier has to interrupt debate to tell audience to stop booing Chris Christie. No, I think you heard some of this audio. This is Gateway Pundit.
I was still watching at that point.
We don't have this particular audio pulled up, but I am going to pull some audio up for you right now. This is the opening, okay? This is when Bret Baier and what's her name is introducing everybody on the debate stage. And let me tell you something. I was on with Kev Ferris watching this, and I got off. I had to do some stuff, and I was like, I just don't even want to watch, so I watched highlights. But anyway, this is
I think I made it about 90 minutes.
this is how much love big old Chris Christie gets. Roll clip.
Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
South Carolina Senator Tim Scott.
You hear the boos?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
there-
nothing compared to when I don't remember what the topic was. I think it was something to do with Trump, but I mean that was the point where Brett had to like turn around and look at the crowd and say, "Hey, let's let them talk so we can get to the other stuff." And it was loud. It felt like I was watching a WWE show where the bad guy was talking in the ring.
Yeah. Do your impression of Macho Man.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, for us older folks out there, rest in peace to Terry Funk, man.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Terry
Yeah.
Funk, go ahead and give a shout-out real quick.
70, I believe he was 76 years old. Died at his home on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And then that was quickly followed up for the newer people, Bray Wyatt, who was, do you remember Mike Rotunda, Barry Windham from
Yes.
back in the day?
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
Bray Wyatt is actually Wyndham Rotunda, the son of Mike Rotunda and nephew of Barry Windham. And he was only 36, and he just passed away yesterday. So the wrestling world lost two very, very popular people, one from obviously years and years ago and one that has been popular for the last decade.
It's amazing how we just segue into stuff on this show,
Right.
isn't it? So, yeah, but thank you for getting me clued in, getting me up to snuff on that. Now, did you see when Bret Baier asked the Republican candidates if they would support Donald Trump even though he was convicted?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So if
Vivek's hand went up
Shut-
before the question was even done being asked.
shot up in a heartbeat. Vivek was like, it's me, I'm the biggest cheerleader. Because, look, I think Vivek's up there to shake stuff up. And I heard a really good point about this. Trump, there was a lot of benefits to Trump not being there. Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis have to focus on each other and duke this out. Trump is just going to skate while they figure this out and fight for second place, because that's what's going on in that debate stage. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on that debate stage is fighting for second place. So maybe we'll get a Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis. I don't know if they're going to do what Elon Musk and what's that weird guy from his Facebook?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg are going to get in the ring, but it's going to duke it out, and that's going to take that much heat off Trump, and Trump can do whatever he wants to do. I was on with Kevin Ferris the other night, and they had a young man named James, I think was his name, and it escapes me. He actually called Trump a coward for not going to the debate and debating on a stage with real conservatives. I'm like, yeah, because he's never been on a stage with real conservatives. What are you, nuts? There's no reason for him to go. And I think I was right, because he really knocked it out of the park. So let's go over this real quick here.
I don't think he needed to be there for this one. But
he's going to have to be there if DeSantis or
Yeah.
Ramaswamy get it.
we
he
get
should go and
5 or
debate
6
them.
months down the road, and like you said, it's basically come down to two. Whether it's those two, I think it will be, but who knows?
But it would be really funny though if, let's say, DeSantis gets a nomination and DeSantis is polling at 20% and Trump's polling at 75%. Then why would Trump go to a debate? I mean, really? I mean, when you've got that much of a spread with these guys.
I agree.
So anyway, let's look at the numbers real quick. So Fox, 12.8 million people tuned in to Fox News to watch this debate. 12.8, which is, I think it's about 3 million less than it was in 2016. Okay. And I believe would have been the 2020 election, the Democrats, I think the first debate they had around 14 or 15. I'm kind of taking a shot at this. Like I said, I forgot those specific notes, but it was pretty low, 12.8 million. Now you have Tucker Carlson interviews Trump. 14. Let's back up a little bit here. We're going to back up. So, views. Now on Twitter, views are people that actually saw the story. Okay? And I don't know, I cannot confirm if they broke a record on this, but at lunchtime today, this is Friday, we're recording the show a day late, but I like that because we've got a lot of news coming in. 250 million people, 250 million people saw this, like came across their screen, and I went back through other posts and other Tucker Carlson episodes, this was the most I can find. Now, because that's the most I can find doesn't mean that's the most there's ever been, but that's pretty damn big. They had a formula. One of these liberal rags had a formula for this. And they said, actually, that means probably 14.8 million if you do a 7-to-1 and all this ratio of people that actually tuned in and watched it or watched part of it. It was actually just 14.8 million people watched it. Okay, even if it's 14.8 million people that actually watched the Tucker interview, that is huge. Yeah, that's a lot of people. When you consider he mopped the floor by 2 million views.
And even more impressive considering Tucker only has 9.8 million followers.
Correct. So this did both these guys very good. I'm glad Trump did not go to that debate. You know, Trump goes off the handle sometimes and says stuff we don't agree with, or was like, hey, roll our eyes. The guy made the right choice here. So check this out. All of the candidates combined have, I think it's 14 million Twitter or X followers combined. You've got DeSantis, you got Pence have the most, so right around 5, and then the other ones are like 900,000 or 26,000 here and there. 14 million followers on Twitter, and only 12.8 million tuned in for it. So you can probably do a stat there if you want to. Trump himself has 87 million followers on X. 87 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big standing. That's a pretty big following. And he got 14.8 million on the Tucker and Trump interview. The numbers speak to me something. I don't know what it is. And I think it's probably more than that actually watched this. But you're talking about a guy who's standing up there talking to Tucker Carlson, who's holding nuclear warheads, and you got these guys on stage at the primaries throwing firecrackers at him. I just don't. When you look at the raw numbers, when you looked at the raw numbers of how many people attended his rallies, how many votes he got, I just don't see it. D's, I mean, think about that. 2 million more views than what the entire primaries got. Debates.
I'm not surprised. I mean, for one, Twitter is sorry, Elon, I like you, but I refuse to call it X. Twitter is a lot more, has a lot broader reach when you consider that it's worldwide. So, I mean, how many of those views are, from foreigners and things like that? But
well, I agree with that. But on the other hand, too, could you imagine if each one of these guys in the primary debate would have just done their own interview with somebody on Twitter? How bad would that have been?
Oh, yeah. No,
Only Trump can pull it off. This is the El Donzo and D Show on